So YouTube streaming has this weird thing now where it gives me a minus time. So I'm not going to start until the time goes away. So if you can hear me, that's why. So we've got about, I'll count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Puddy. This is Sunday, and welcome to a quick, I hope, hour-long, roughly, Sunday podcast. This is the 42nd annual edition of the Sunday podcast. I'm tired, so probably just going to have a chill, relaxed kind of discussion. If you check the description, you'll kind of see what's on the docket for tonight. And it's going to be mainly, in fact, I think entirely, New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning events this week, which the second of the two made me extremely excited for professional wrestling. So we'll go through both of those. But I think the first thing to talk about is that, and spoilers for those who haven't seen the shows, and I would absolutely recommend seeing the shows. And actually, I'm going to quickly, while I'm talking, chuck a link to New Japan World in the description, because I haven't done that, and I like to do that. So New Japan World has just added a new feature that allows, well, not sure how long ago it was, but it allows you to translate the entire thing to English. So it's extremely easy to use now. So I completely recommend you go actually and watch this both shows, the New Beginning in Osaka and New Beginning in Niigata. Both shows were over this week, and both shows were really good. Second one I think was a little better though. But what I like to talk about, and again, spoilers, so if you want to go watch the shows, I'd watch it now, is that the 3 current singles champions are extremely promising for the next year of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we'll get into them as we go, but I'd just like to let everyone know that I'm going to be focusing specifically on these 3 matches. I think I'm going to talk about the juniors match a little bit as well, but I would completely recommend that you go out and if you like, even though I'm not going to recommend them here, I would recommend that you check out the juniors tag match, the junior heavyweight match, the heavyweight tag match, and possibly the 6-man tags from both shows, because and also the Bullet Club matches from both shows, because they were all decent enough. Like, I imagine to watch both shows it'd probably take you like 3.5 hours if you only watch the good stuff, so it's probably worth a check out. But I'm going to specifically focus on Tomohiro Ishii versus Katsuyori Shibata for the never openweight title, Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroaki Goto for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. That was the main event of New Beginning in Osaka, and then New Beginning in Niigata finished with the match for the vacant IWGP Intercontinental title, and that was Kenny Omega versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. So those are the 3 matches I'm going to focus on here. So there you go. So let's get right into it. The first match on the slate is the never openweight title match between Katsuyori Shibata, who is the champion after winning the title at the Dome show last month, versus the guy he took the title off, which is Tomohiro Ishii. They had a really good match. A lot of people who only kind of watch New Japan for Dome shows and Dominion and G1 and stuff like that were, I think, a little surprised to see how good the never openweight title division has kind of become. But obviously for people who've been watching for a while, you remember the last year's New Beginning match, which is really like where I think the never openweight division kind of came into its own. The people who comprise the division have always been pretty good. If you look back at like the 2014 and 13 G1 Climax, you see people like Shibata and Ishii and Honma. They're all kind of up there for the best matches of the tournament. But the Makabe was kind of the never guy for a while, and then Ishii kind of took that mantle up last year, and so when Ishii took on Honma at New Beginning, I think everyone just realized, oh shit, this is old school Puro, and oh, sorry for banging the mic. This is old school Puro. It's still alive. And, I think there's arguments around the internet about whether it's a good thing that it's still alive or not. I'm not going to get into that here. But, yeah, like, people are starting to realize that this style is good. And it's actually really easy to work this style. I don't know if that's true, but, like, you don't... Like, this is a kind of style that hides your flaws in a wonderful way. And so that's why people are starting to really... Like, at the Dome show last month, people were like, oh, shit, this style is insane. It's really cool. And a lot of people started to get into the style like that, but some people were concerned about the shoot headbutts, the legit headbutts they were doing at the Dome last month, and I wouldn't, I don't blame people. There was a lot less of that this time. Honestly, like I think Meltz gave it a 4.5 last month. And I would give it a 4.75 last month. And I would probably give this 5. Like, this match was just as good as the Ishii-Honma match last year. It's just maybe Honma is a better babyface than Shibata. I'll talk about that in a sec. But hey, Jack Rumit Johnson, I have not seen you in a while. It's been like 2 years. How you doing, bro? But, yeah, Shibata, something I noticed during this show is... Shibata's weird. Shibata is a star. Katsuyori Shibata is... Oh, I should talk about the match first. So, the match starts off with first of all, a really cool sequence where the two guys wrestle for who can get on top first, which is kind of what you'd expect. And these two have fought each other quite a bit over the last couple of years. So you expect them to go into the fast-paced stuff a little earlier and have a little bit more urgency about it, and they did, which is good. It's good storytelling. They know what they're capable of, and so you instantly, like the first couple of spots were a snapmare straight into like a vicious kick that was dodged, and then so I think it was Ishii who did the kick first. Shibata dodges it, and then Shibata does exactly the same thing, and Ishii dodges it, and it's a really cool like callback to these guys know each other, and they're probably gonna have a lot more matches. They're probably going to have a lot more matches this year, but it's good to see that they're already starting to tell, like, these guys know each other. They're not feeling each other out for the first time, which is something that the juniors title match, which I won't talk too much about, between Bushi and Kushida, they did it excellently too, because Bushi is such a unknown element, so Kushida actually had to feel him out and, like, take it slow, and it's like, what's this guy capable of? And but in this match they went straight into it. Now people have expressed concerns with a very long, probably over a minute long sequence where they just forearmed the shit out of each other. I completely get that. It's probably the one weakness of this entire match. I don't think it's big enough to like knock quarter of a star off of the thing, but maybe it's just so what basically go on my phone. What basically happened is these two. They started trading forearms as you expect from the never openweight division, but it lasted for like over a minute, and some people have said it got a bit too cartoony, and I completely understand that. One of the joys of the never openweight division is they took traditional Puro and they kind of got the modern masters of it, where they know exactly when to stop. They would do long sequences of insane stiff shots, and then they know exactly when to stop and sell. And that was kind of what everyone loves about what people who like the division like about it, is that they know when to stop, they know when to sell. They don't no-sell everything, they just do gradual selling. Like, they don't sell as soon as they get hit, they sell at the end of a sequence for everything. And it's just an interesting style, I really like it. I think it's really a good way of storytelling. And this match was another example of it. More just trading stiff shots. I think they went like 10 minutes without even like getting off their feet. Not off their feet as in being knocked down, but like suplexes or bigger moves like that. It was just stiff shots, guys being thrown into the corner, and the boot thing that they've been doing for a while, where they just grind their boot into the other guy's face in the corner. Didn't see a lot of like seated kicks like we saw at the Dome last month, but it was just really fun. Shibata had some amazing out of nowhere strikes where he was just taking punishment, showing babyface fire, like, no, I will not back down, and then like a strike from Ishii goes a miss, and then he just, like, there was one point where Ishii goes for I think a forearm, Shibata ducks, like, does a full twist and just bam, chop in the in the head. And there was a earlier spot where Ishii chops Shibata right in the throat, and the ref is extremely annoyed and just tries to pull Ishii off of Shibata, and then immediately afterwards Shibata just chops Ishii directly in the throat, and he was like, yeah, this is perfect, these two are just gonna fuck each other up. And whenever you do a move to one of these guys, he's just gonna take it as like inspiration to do it right back to you later. It was great. It's early front runner for match of the year for me. It's again like it's one of the reasons why the Ishii Honma match from last year was really good, is just because these guys do Puro really well. They do it really, really well, and they tell really fantastic stories during it too. Like the in-ring storylines of these guys is unmatched. Like, and by that I just mean like bell to bell, what you're doing, like your psychology of it is like. It's just fantastic because you do feel like any strike can end it, and every strike matters. And the strikes are fantastic too. It's such a great style, and there's three guys that do it just superbly. The Makabe can carry himself every now and then, but you know it's such a great style, and I really like this match. Again, this was the one from night one, so it's harder for me to like remember what was going on with it. Whereas with the third match I'm going to talk about today, the IC title match, I remember it clean as day because I watched it earlier today. But the Never Open Weight title's a little clouded, and I don't have much to say about the world title anyway. But yeah, and Shibata at the end of the match, they were doing, I think it was slaps or something. I can't remember what type of strike they were doing, but they were trading them for a while, and then Ishii goes for one, and Shibata just dodges it and gets him in the chokehold, and then hits him with a penalty kick. So I think it was a much better finish from the Dome too. Not that like the finish was bad at the Dome. This one just felt less abrupt and less sudden, and I also really like like Shibata's caught him ball game. That's something that Shibata does really well, especially with that finisher. Is he did it here, and he did it against Sakuraba as well, and that's why it's one of the reasons why I like that match. Is Shibata's finishes are just really good. Usually, I didn't like his Dome finish. I thought it was a little too abrupt and it wasn't built right. But New Beginning in Niigata, I definitely enjoyed. No, New Beginning in Osaka, I enjoyed the Shibata finish here, and the match was great. Like I said, it's currently my front runner for match of the year. It's probably tied with Sabre Jr. and Callahan versus Tommy End. It is Tommy End and Chris Hero. But I'd have to do rewatches and shit. This year has started really strong, but as it usually does, because Domes are on January 4th. So yeah, you got that. Anyway. Onwards to the IWGP Heavyweight title. So this one was, I mean, I guess exactly what I was expecting, but maybe I believed that Goto could step his game up. So this was Hiroki Goto versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title, and Goto comes out like fully painted, special occasion Hiroki Goto. Goto is very angry at Kazuchika Okada, enough to give up his principles and attack him in a press conference, and you know, Goto just wrestles like normal. No anger, no passion, nothing different. He's gotten all painted up. He's done all this shit over the last couple of weeks, and it's just like, it's normal Goto. No urgency, nothing, just Goto. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad match, it was decent, but Goto is, you know, what he is. Unfortunately, I don't think he has another gear like some other people do, which is unfortunate. But Okada's still fantastic. I don't know who else you could have put him with this early in the year. Honestly, I was about to say I wish they'd given him a better first opponent after Dome, but I don't know who else you could give him. Goto was my first pick, honestly. When Dome finished, I was like, I wonder who they're going to go with. It's like, yeah, it's going to be Goto, because it's got to be like out of all the like. I don't know, it's weird, because they went... Like, Goto, to me, seemed like you could play him off as the babyface who just saved Japan from Los Ingobernables. But they ended up going with him as, like, a heel, basically. Which seems weird to me. But he did seem like the obvious opponent for me. But the match was what it is. Okada's still good, though, like I was saying. The offensive Okada is always going to be exciting to those who like him. Stuff like just the cocky kind of storytelling of Okada kind of works a lot, and he carries himself like a superstar, and a lot of his offense is really exciting. Got a lot of holds and suplexes that I enjoy, and obviously the stiff as fuck lariat, which I think we've all grown to love over the last couple of years. I like I said, this match I watched a couple of days ago, and I don't really remember it, and I just thought it was meh. But Okada is the takeaway from this match is Okada's still champ, so it is what it is. I think we've got an exciting year ahead for that title. I don't think Okada and Goto are the exciting year for that title. Okay. Now we can move on to the main event of the week, which was Kenny Omega and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So, one sec. So we had for the vacant IWGP Intercontinental Championship, which was vacated by Shinsuke Nakamura earlier this month, and it was basically Kenny with his reinvigorated Bullet Club. I'm not sure really what they're doing with Bullet Club. I'm not sure whether the Elite is just Kenny and the Young Bucks or whether it's the whole stable. But there's something is going on with the Bullet Club, and Kenny's the new leader. Like, that's all I need to know. Is it's basically Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and then the Trios team, and then Cody Hall. Who I've hearing good things about Cody Hall's performance this week, so I might want to look into that. I don't watch all the prelims. I can't be bothered for that shit. Anyway, to the match. Hiroshi Tanahashi, for those who don't know, is an extremely protected member of the roster, and he doesn't take a lot of losses. I don't know, he's starting to take a lot more, but he usually doesn't take too many losses. He's kind of their ace, he used to be at least, and he's a real big deal. So, in some degree, probably you wouldn't expect him to win the Intercontinental title, but then on the other hand, Shinsuke Nakamura was there for a long time, and it wouldn't have surprised me at all if they'd given it to Tanahashi to kind of fill that role, considering that the IWGP title, IC title, usually goes on second to last to the Dome these days. Their reluctance to chuck Tanahashi, so anyone but Tanahashi in the main events, makes me think that Hiroshi Tanahashi is working the second to last match of the card next year. So I don't know. I still think Tanahashi's in the Intercontinental title match at Dome next year, but they didn't give the belt to him. It's interesting. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit in a second. Hey, Davey, what's up, my brother? But and then the other guy on the other side of the ring was Kenny Omega, who I'm just gonna say, before this match was pretty unproven. The man had some really good juniors matches, some really good juniors feuds, and he is what he is. He was a lightweight performer who had a really cool character. Not the best promo, but a lot of charisma, in-ring banter, stuff like that. And, he was a solid worker. But I think he really proved himself at Niigata. I think this was sensational. Really sensational match. So it started off with the two I think they felt each other out a little bit. I think it started a little slowly, but it soon... I don't know, this match went really quickly for me. I looked at it afterwards, it went over 30 minutes, but it felt like a normal 16-minute match to me. And it started to pick up when... Hey Ada, what's going on, my brother? It started to pick up when the two kind of left the ring, and then we had Kenny Omega suplexed Tanahashi into just a large amount of chairs, and it looked like a really nasty spot. I liked it because they did obviously he had landed a little awkwardly on his shoulder, which was already injured. Whether that's real or not remains to be seen. I think it's probably real, but his shoulder was already hurt going into the match, and then Omega just continues to work the hell out of that shoulder for the next 5-10 minutes, and it was great stuff. And one thing Omega did early in the match is he told the Young Bucks, no, it wasn't the Young Bucks, it told Cody Hall and I think it was Yujiro Takahashi to go back to the back and not to interfere, because the smart marks will take a star off if you interfere. And I want my star rating, and it's Kenny Omega, you are meta, and I love it. And then, of course, because he said he wanted to win the match clean, there was lots of interference later. But for a good, 10-20 minutes, there wasn't any interference, which was great, because Bullet Club interference can sometimes be awful. And the fact that they kind of told a story with it here, where it's like, no, I want to win this match clean. There you go, referee. I've sent my boys to the back. There's going to be no interference, I promise. And then after the outside stuff, he works on the shoulder for a bit, which was awesome. Which was really cool. The only kind of offense Tanahashi got in that second third of the match was, first of all, he did Shinsuke Nakamura's leg thing in the corner where he shakes his leg. And that was cool. And then he tried to do Shinsuke Nakamura's turnbuckle knee, where he puts him up on the turnbuckle and runs and knees him in the abdomen. But Omega reversed that. Now, what I really liked about this is because afterwards, Jushin Liger, who's on comms, I think he's permanently there now. I see him on a lot of the shows. Said, at least according to my translator, the guy who translates a lot of this stuff, and I follow his Twitter, that Tanahashi was distracted by Shinsuke Nakamura's departure. Also during Tanahashi's entrance. During Tanahashi's entrance, Jushin Liger called him the sun without a moon, which was beautiful. Like, think about that. That was awesome. With Shinsuke was the moon and Tanahashi was the sun. That's good stuff, man. And then he was distracted by Shinsuke's departure. He was paying tribute to him by using his moves. And then Liger said after the match that he shouldn't have used his moves. He was doing it lightheartedly, and it wasn't Tanahashi at his best. He was just thinking about Shinsuke and his title the entire time, and how he wanted to win the title for Shinsuke. And that's really cool of a story to tell. I really like that. I hope they do a little more with that, because there's certainly a way that they can continue that storyline after this. But to continue on with the match, after that, Omega continues to work down Tanahashi for a little bit, and then I think Tana started a babyface comeback before the interference. I think he started to do some dragon screws on the leg and work the leg in. The way only Tanahashi can. Seriously, this is one of my favorite Tanahashi matches of all time. Not of all time, but that I've seen. But I've never been hugely in love with a few of his matches over the last couple of years. But this one just completely turned me back on Tanahashi's side. Man is the best closer in the business. And the babyface comeback was great. He was clearly showing fire. He was tired, fatigued. His shoulder was killing him. He was selling fantastically. So is Omega, by the way. Fantastic sell job on the knee, which was great. And then I think Tana was in the middle of his comeback. And guess who popped out from the Liger is a really good announcer from what I've heard. I think he's the announcer on every pay-per-view / big shows. Yeah, it's Milano. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Milano, and then there's another guy, and then there's Liger now. And yeah, I mean, he sounds good. There's one guy who's really passionate. It's not Liger, but Liger tells a lot of stories. Like today when he did the Shinsuke thing, and he tells a ton of stories. I think he hates Los Ingobernables and stuff. And whenever I hear translation, I love stuff that Liger comes out with. Anyway, the Young Bucks come out, of course. Fantastic people to come out from under the ring, because they just had these wide shit-eating grins on their faces. And it's like, you got me, you got us. Because, Kenny sent Cody Hall to the back, and then Cody Hall tries to come back out, and Red Shoes is like, look, Kenny told you to go away, let's take you backstage. Chono, maybe? I don't know. Sorry, dude. But, 1 second, I can check. No, I can only see Milano. Whatever, they've got 3 guys. Anyway, so Red Shoe starts taking Cody Hall backstage, and that's when the Young Bucks pop out. It's there's an argument that Kenny didn't know about the Young Bucks, and it's they just came, and Kenny was like, alright, I'm losing this match, I'll go with it. And there's an argument that Kenny is an evil bastard and he's a genius, and that by sending his boys to the back at the start of the match, he was making Red Shoes at ease. Too at ease. Red Shoes has become too good at dealing with the Bullet Club, so Kenny has to use secret tactics to get interference through properly. And I love that story with it. Young Bucks come out, they double super kick Tanahashi, and then they indie taker him. I think that's all they do at first. Then they leave the ring and Kenny pins him, and then Tana... Oh, I think he might Bomb him, but I'm not sure. And then Tana kicks out too, and Kenny's like, what? No! And then there's some more interference, the trash can gets involved, and then Red Shoes gets hit by the trash can, which is another great moment, and the Young Bucks start interfering again, and guess who comes out but Big Mike? That's right, according to Jushin Liger, it's Tanahashi's only friend, Big Mike. Michael Elgin comes out, clears house, carries the Young Bucks backstage, lets both of them on like on his shoulders, and just carries them off. And it's good stuff, exciting stuff from that. That was awesome. And also, Big Mike is not Tanahashi's only friend. I think you'll find, if you go back to Invasion Attack last year, Tanahashi is also friends with Captain New Japan when he's facing Bullet Club, which he was on this occasion. So, he has another friend, okay? Good. But after the Big Mike spot, it was just a little bit of back and forth between the two. Tana gets Bomaye'd by, or I guess he's calling it the V-trigger. Omega's using the Bomaye now, but I think he's calling it the V-trigger. So, Tana gets Bomaye'd, I think, twice, and then kicks out. And then Omega hits him with a third. No, Omega. Yeah, first of all, Omega kicks out of a high fly flow, which was awesome because I thought Tana won it there. And then there were two spots that I haven't talked about yet. So first of all, Omega just hits a Frankensteiner out of nowhere, which was amazing. And then Tanahashi countered the One-Winged Angel into another Frankensteiner, which was amazing again. And then, like I was saying, Tana kicks out of two Bomayes. Then Omega hits him with a third Bomaye, and then hits him with the One-Wing Angel to win the match and claim his first heavyweight singles gold, which is really cool. The crowd looked genuinely shocked, which is good, because that's kind of exactly what the crowd were like when AJ beat, I think it was Okada, but it might have been Tanahashi, at Invasion Attack in 2013. I don't know, there's part of me that says, you know what, just throw Omega in the main event, but then I look at who I think is going to be in the main event scene for the rest of this year, and I'm like, yeah, maybe not. But the IC title is a perfect place for him. I think he can genuinely become New Japan's top foreign heel, and I think this is a really good start. He's just beaten Tanahashi clean. It's a big deal. And Tanahashi is also 2-0, like 0-2 in singles matches on pay-per-view this year, which is big starts to tell a good story. There's a lot of ways to go with that. And I'll talk a little bit about Tanahashi doing other stuff later. But in post, actually I'll talk about it now. In post, Tanahashi said basically that he thought he let Shinsuke down, which is a really cool story to tell. And what I think he's going to do is he's going to enter the New Japan Cup. And he's going to try and win that and then use his shot that he gets from that on the IC title instead of the world title. But he's not going to win the New Japan Cup. He's going to get thwarted somehow by Tetsuya Naito, and like that's how we'll end up where I think we're ending up. And the only thing that I'm almost entirely certain of, although that's probably not true, but the only thing I'm pretty sure of that we're ending up is at Dominion in June or July, whenever it is. Tetsuya Naito is going to face Okada for the title, and it's going to be in, I think it's Osaka? No, it might be Osaka. But it's the one province of Japan that despises Naito. And over the last 6 months, they have made Naito to be the biggest, most evil jackass heel in the entire company. And you throw him in that province where they just hate him. That's the city that when he was the mega babyface, they booed the shit out of him when he won the G1 Climax. And they're going to throw him at Dominion, they're going to have him beat Okada, and then Okada's going to win the G1, and it'll be Okada and Naito to main event the Dome again, as they should have in 2014. They'll do it in 2017. So that's why I think we're going with the world title, which I'm really excited about, because I think that's great. I love Naito as the Los Ingobernables heel. I love Okada as just anything, really. I like him better as a heel, but I think he's too over now. The crowds are just really responding to him, which is fine because he's the ace as well. And then in terms of the IC title, you've got Omega, and I think you might even have Michael Elgin. I don't know. I don't want to see Michael Elgin versus Omega. I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe I'm too biased towards Japanese wrestlers now, but there's just something about that matchup to me that just feels like no, not to main event a show or to semi-main event a show. That just doesn't feel like. I feel like both those guys can be big deals, but not against each other. I think they should be against the New Japan faithful. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Big Mike, because Big Mike is a huge babyface. Like he's never gonna turn heel in Japan. Maybe not never, but he's definitely got a lot of money in him as a big babyface, foreign star. They love him over there, and yeah, that's what I see him doing. You know, like there's a part of me that really wants Tanahashi and Big Mike to win the tag league this year, and that's Tanahashi's match for the Dome. But they're never going to do it. Like 1 year removed from his like streak coming to an end, there's no way he's not going on second to last. If he doesn't even go on last, which is still like we can't rule out Okada Tanahashi 4. We should know what Gedo is like by now, guys. But no, I think it'll probably like what I'm thinking is Tanahashi Omega ends up being the Dominion's like co-main. But I don't know, because here's the thing is that it's exciting to see who the competitors are, because in the main event scene, you've got Okada, you've got Tanahashi, I guess you've got Goto. If he comes back, you've got Ibushi. Maybe that's the match. I've seen that actually. I've seen that for advertised for Dome next year, Wrestle Kingdom 11, I think it is. Where it would be the Golden Lovers, which is the old juniors tag team of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. Those two fighting for the IC belt as the co-main. That would be fantastic, but that would mean Tanahashi is in the main event. Because like I said, there's no way a year removed from their streak, they're not putting Tanahashi in one of the last two matches on the card. And I don't mind Tanahashi being in the last match on the card, but like if he's not facing Okada, who's he facing? The other main event player that we could have by the time Dominion rolls around is Katsuyori Shibata. And Tomohiro Ishii, to be fair. Either of those two could probably make the jump. But Shibata obviously needs to be titleless for that to work. And I don't see that happening. I think he's the guy now in that division. Maybe, though. Maybe they give it back to Ishii at, like, Invasion Attack. Maybe. But an Ishii, I don't see making a permanent jump. I don't think. I just don't see it. I think it's weird because Shibata to me feels like a man, even though he's really best suited for those clashes with Ishii and Honma and Makabe, I think could probably be, because he's got that leaner build. He could probably like fit into that main event scene a bit better, but I don't know, Ishii feels like right now like the most likely choice to throw in there. It's interesting. I'm really looking forward to the G1 Climax this year. Like I said, I think Okada's going to win it, and if he does, that's great. That's fine. That's exactly what I want. But I think there's if Ibushi's back and fit, we could have a really interesting G1 Climax with Michael Elgin, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Hiroki Goto, Katsuyori Shibata, Kazuchika Okada, possibly Tanahashi, Naito if he's not champ. Oh, Naito even if he is champ. Yeah, the champions are in that. Honma still. Honma will go on another losing streak. Yeah, that's very interesting. Back to the IC title match though. I thought it was stellar. I thought it was legitimately stellar. One of the best built matches ever, to the point where I was actually one of the best built matches I've seen in a while, to the point where I was actually kind of rooting for Tanahashi to win at the end, which is kind of a, like, indictment of how good the match was, because I was really, really wanting Kenny Omega to win this match. So the fact that they kind of, like, in the moment, kind of got me to be, like sympathetic. But like I said, this match really turned my opinion around on Tanahashi, who I've been souring on for the last couple of years. He's really fantastic at what he does. And these two just seem to have fire chemistry. And this is the start of something beautiful for Kenny Omega, I hope. And Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks is a fantastic trio that I think should do more shit. But I would like to see Cody Hall and the Young Bucks in the 6-man tag division, but they threw the 6-man tag titles around ridiculously, I mean. Anyway, that's that. I really liked the IC title match. I thought it was a fantastic end to the week. It's got me really excited about pro wrestling again, which is it's odd, because for the second time this year, New Japan has got me excited about pro wrestling. Coincidence. I wonder if there's a reason for that. And not to mention that we've got like some fantastic cards around the corner. I won't spoil anything for you guys, but the NXT show that's just before Mania, is going to be fantastic. It's got 2 potential 5-star matches on that card, I believe. So it's something interesting. Do I think Omega could headline Wrestle Kingdom next year? I don't. Not like, for a bunch of reasons. The first one is, I think, if you want to build someone to be a main event star, you kind of need to start Invasion Attack, and I think he's just not going to be anywhere near the heavyweight title Invasion Attack. If you look, I think here's the thing: AJ Styles never main evented the Dome, so like I don't know if Kenny Omega is. Here's my comparison to Kenny Omega and AJ Styles. I think Kenny Omega has more potential to be a huge heel because I just think he's a really good asshole. So like I don't think he's gonna get cheers like AJ did. That's one of AJ's problems towards the end, is that the crowds were kind of turning in his favor, and that worked because he did some face stuff, which was great. And then did Bullet Club versus Los Ingobernables for a while, which was good. Here's the thing: if I had the book, he could headline Wrestle Kingdom next year because I like him. I don't think he will, because I just think that they won't, like, if they had him win the IWGP heavyweight title at New Beginning or at Invasion Attack, absolutely. And that could have worked, because it worked with AJ. He won the title in his first ever match, and they built it really well. But they didn't. They had him win the IC title, which is great. I think he's going to go on second to last next year against either Hiroshi Tanahashi or Kota Ibushi. And either of those matches would be hot damn fire. Hot damn fire. But I don't think he's going to go on last. Maybe. I don't know. I could see him winning the G1. It depends. I genuinely believe Tetsuya Naito is going to win the title at Dominion. And if he doesn't, if Kazuchika Okada is the champion heading into the G1, fucking anything could happen. like legitimately. If Naito wins the title at Dominion, I think it's almost a lock that Okada wins the G1. But if Okada's still got the title by the time G1 comes around, yeah, Omega could win the G1. Yeah, sure. Tanahashi could, but that would be... Please no. Ibushi might. But I don't know. Ibushi's story isn't finished yet. And Shinsuke's gone, which is horrid, because Shinsuke needed to be there to finish that story. Which is why they should have gone with my fantasy booking for last year, where Kota beats Shinsuke in the finals and then goes on to win the title. Anyway, still, I don't think Kota's story, his ascension to the heavyweight division, isn't done yet. And it's really sad because freaking Kenny Omega got there before Kota. And as much as I love Kenny, and he really proved himself to me tonight, I think he's a top-class worker now. Kota Ibushi is fucking once-in-a-generation talent, man. That's a bit over the top, but he's top tier. Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi is top tier. So, it's sad. He needs to have one more story, though, Kota Ibushi, I think. He needs to just have that one, yes, I am finally as good as... You know what? Tanahashi's actually a good person to do it with, but I think Tana's done enough jobs for the year. So, yeah, I don't know. That'd be fun if Tana literally loses every match on pay-per-view this year. They wouldn't do it, but it would be fun to see that happen. Where it's like Tana loses to freaking Okada, then Omega, then Ibushi, then Yano again, then Fale again, then Big Mike. They just have like a friendly match, and then Tana's like, you know what, screw it, I am just done with you people, and then he turns heel, and then that's the third from the top match at Tokyo Dome, is Big Mike versus heel Tana, to establish Big Mike as your next big foreign star. I'm really excited though. As I think I've said multiple times in this show already. So that's one thing. They don't need Shinsuke for Kota's story. He could be replaced by heel Tana. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, heel Tana's the only one who could really do that. You're right. I would love it if Tana just started coming out in like Shinsuke style clothes and just started like, I miss Shinsuke so much that I have to be him. And then that's why he wants the IC title, is to just to be Shinsuke. and that's why that would be freaking perfect. Next year at the Dome, you do Naito versus Okada in the main, and then you do heel Tana with the IC title versus Kota Ibushi. Ooh, that's actually possible. And really cool. But I don't think they'd have Tana lose at 2 Kingdoms in a row. Maybe, though. He is really old now. I think they're starting to see that. But he's still really, really good. Anyway, I think I've talked for a little bit too much. I know we were a little bit shorter than I was expecting. But unless anybody else has any comments, to put in the comments questions or anything, which I will answer if you've got any, but I doubt you would. I'll start to wrap it up. I know the podcast's been a little bit on hold. I usually come to a Sunday and I'm like, oh, I should probably record, and I'll put together a graphic, and I'll put down any I'll put down topics and stuff, and I'll be like a couple of weeks ago I was like, I should talk about the Evolve shows and the Rumble and stuff like that, and I was like, I just don't feel like it, and I don't feel like I can cover the whole show on my own. But that's that's why it's been a little infrequent. Ada says, and then Okada becomes Tana too because he misses the normal Tana. Yeah, that's perfect. And then we have another we have another Okada versus Tana feud, but this time it's Tana 2 versus Shinsuke 2. Yeah, so that's why this podcast has been a little infrequent lately, because I've just been I sit down and I'm like, I don't think this is going to be a good show, so I just don't record it. But it might be a bit more frequent. I tell you what, whenever I get excited about pro wrestling, I usually want to record a podcast. I'm like, ooh, Tokyo Dome was so great. New Japan's going to be great this year. Okada's the guy. And then I'm like, record the podcast. And then this, it was like, oh god, Katsuyori Shibata, he's a star. And Okada's still amazing, and Kenny Omega beat Tanahashi. So I sit down and record. Ray Wrestling says, which WWE main show, please hire tag teams for the New Day to feud with. Yeah, I think if you watched NXT this week, to go off of New Japan entirely, if you watched NXT this week, there was one of the best backstage segments, literally of all time, was between American Alpha and Enzo and Cass. And I think all of the matches would be typical WWE affair. I think the promos between New Day and Enzo and Cass would be pimping. That's probably going to happen the night after Mania, so we haven't got long left to wait. Plus, have you all heard? Okay, if you don't want to know about a recent NXT tag team signing, click off now. But NXT have signed TMDK. Yeah. They are also signing Nikki Storm, which is also a big deal. But TMDK is that's going to be ridiculous. When I think Enzo and Cass will debut the night after WrestleMania. I think Enzo, Cass, if they come with Carmella, then her too, and Bayley are the night after Mania debuts. Maybe even Samoa Joe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe even a certain other. Maybe even the Demon. But I guess it depends on certain things that are happening. Also, maybe Sami Zayn. I don't know. I still believe that they were keeping him in dev for a little bit. He's lost a step since coming back, so it'd be interesting to see that. But I tell you what, if he has lost a step, anyway, he's got a good match coming up. Let's just say that Sami Zayn has got a good match coming up. God, I can't wait till April 1st. Guys, you don't understand. If you're not planning on watching NXT TakeOver Dallas, you need to change those plans, because this card is ridiculous. Legitimately. I legitimately believe that this card on paper is better than WrestleMania 17. It depends how it plays out, but on paper I think it's better. It's ridiculous how good this card is. Ridiculous. But yeah, that at the latest, that's the next time I'll be speaking to you guys, is April 1st. I think Sammy will re-debut after main suit. Oh no, Anatuna, you've spoiled the match for Dave. God damn. Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be the night after Mania, probably. Not sure though. I don't think it's a surety, by the way, Ada, that he loses that match, because the other guy in it might not pass a couple of concussion tests. I'm just gonna put that out there. So yeah. Well, I've become an avid listener now because I missed you. Yeah, well, I'm not sure how frequent they're going to be. But let's see, what's coming up in the next week? We've got another show of LU, which has come back. I haven't seen you guys since LU came back. LU's great. LU kind of ties Wednesday nights together. It's like we got NXT, which is traditional territory stuff. Always good, always building to the next show. We got LU, which is literally a television show. Oh, and we've got Better Call Saul coming back this week, which I know isn't wrestling, but it's going to help with my shit. What do you think could be Nakamura's new finisher? Let me think. Well, Hideo Itami has the shotgun kick. That would have been a nice finisher if Itami didn't already have it. Oh, maybe no, super kick. Oh, an armbar. Yeah, that would be good. One of my favorite Nakamura moments was G1 Climax, final day of the group stages last year, when Okada goes for the Rainmaker and Nakamura counters it into the armbar. Yeah, Nakamura's arm cross armbars are really good. Yeah, that could be it. I could see that happening. I could see him. I was about to say I could see him using the Bomb IA, but calling it something differently, and then I just thought, nah, he's never going to use that. That thing is far too concussion worthy to use in the WWE. Maybe a scissors kick? I was thinking a super kick, but like everyone uses that now. Avada Kedavra. I'll have to look that one up. Yeah. Anyway, I should probably wrap this up. Well, first of all, I want to finish thinking about what wrestling's coming up this week. Oh yeah, we got Fastlane next Sunday. I probably won't have too much to say about Fastlane. Here is my preview if I do a show. If Roman wins, I'm not too upset, but Mania's gonna suck. If Ambrose wins, I'm happy, but Mania's gonna suck. That's literally the only reactions. Actually, no, I'll expand on that. If Roman wins, Mania's gonna suck, and they're not gonna make a new star. If Ambrose wins, then Mania's gonna suck, but they probably are gonna make a new star. I don't know. It's a weird way of looking at it. Mania's gonna suck, though. I'm sorry, but like that, it's because Triple H is in the main event. Like, I love the guy, but Avada Kedavra is a corner super kick and the old finisher from Tyler Black. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that could work. There's a lot of things. Ooh, Ray Wrestling spells a three-way. A three-way? You mean in the main event of WrestleMania? Nah. I don't know how you end the Fastlane main event in a DQ or any way to get to a three-way. I don't know, maybe. Depends. We got a lot. Like, Fastlane ends, we got like 5 weeks till Mania. You could build a lot. Anyone want to take some odds that Bryan's injury is a work, and that he's coming back and he's gonna main event Mania? Because I'm still holding out hope. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I really don't know. WWE main roster right now is so bad. I've stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. I only watch pay-per-views now, and I'll watch the highlights of Raw if anything's good. It's just really bad right now. They've lost so many stars. And, they haven't lost so many stars. They've failed to build any stars since 2014. And in that time, they've also lost so many people to injury. Do you think there'll be a turn in Mania or Fastlane from either Ambrose or Reigns? They've been teasing an Ambrose turn for a while, and I think there have been better times to do it. And I don't think they're turning Reigns. I wish they would. I think Reigns turning on Ambrose would be a good thing for both people. But I don't think they will. I think they're dead set on Roman Reigns being a babyface and being loved by the crowd. And in 10 years' time, Roman Reigns will win the Royal Rumble and will be booed. And they'll be like, why are they still booing him? They failed on Owens and Wyatt last year. They failed on Wyatt the year before. They did fail them last year, but they also failed the year before. They did fail on Owens last year. You're right. I mean, I say that like he's going to get there one day, but they need stars right now. So they did fail on him. Like, they did. And they failed on AJ Styles already. AJ Styles is just a guy now. He's not a star. He can't be a main eventer soon anyway. I think a Reigns turn as well that could help him. Yeah, I agree. Reigns as a badass who doesn't speak much is pretty good. He's a pretty good pro wrestler, as long as you make sure he does not wrestle longer than, 15 minutes. He's a pretty good pro wrestler. And he's a pretty good, charismatic presence. But, God, keep the mic away from him. He's not dreadful, but he's not very good. And people are wanting to hate him, so keep the mic away from him. Especially in Chicago. Who thought that was a good idea? Yeah, anyway. I'm just gonna... Yeah, they failed on Wyatt, they failed on Owens, they failed on Rusev. Rusev, to me, is the, one guy who's that's a Vince McMahon heel. Right there. That's a guy you could have made into a big deal. Everyone else is they failed, but, do you think they will push the Bullet Club good or Styles? Let me think. So the Bullet Club, well, I think the two guys, Doc and Carl, they're gonna probably go down to NXT for a bit. It depends. Or they could call they could call Balor up night after Mania and have those 3 guys do that. I think they're going to do Balor and the tag team. But I don't know whether that's... They also failed on Barrett, yeah, you're right. They also kind of failed on Punk. They almost failed Bryan. Who are the other guys over the last couple of years that have, like, really sunk? They're obvious example. Oh, I think, like, I know people will, like go after me for this, but I think they failed on Umaga in 07. I think he could have been a bigger deal than he was. And all of the Nexus, like, it's not just Barrett. Barrett was probably the breakout star there. That's funny to say when you think of the people in that thing. It's like, yeah, Barrett was clearly the breakout star of those guys. But no, like, at the time, yeah. I just think they failed in general. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I've given up on it. I'm watching other shows, like New Japan, where they have, like, 6 proper stars, and Lucha Underground, where it doesn't matter how many stars they have, because it's a fucking TV show. And NXT, where they have one of the biggest, like, carry artists since Hulk Hogan. Bailey's so good. I'm sorry, guys, Bailey's so good. They failed on Heidenreich. Yeah, can't back him on that one, bro. I'm sorry, I know I went for Umaga, but I can't back him on that one. They also failed on Edge. They also failed on Randy Orton, at least after 09. They probably, like, to be fair, like, I say, like, after 09, like, ooh, Randy Orton was a pretty good draw before 2009. He probably could have drew a lot more if it wasn't for Unforgiven 2004. And then Dolph, yeah. ADR, I'll agree with you, but I've got to say part of that was his, like, in my, like, just assuming things here, I feel like part of that was his fault. The company fucked him up, but I also feel like that guy is not the best person to work with. Christian, yeah, I don't know. He retired quite early. The Heinrich was a joke. I don't think they massively fell on Christian. I just think Christian did good stuff in 05, and then didn't he? Yeah, then he left in like 06, right? And then by the time he came back, he was getting on in years. And then they threw him into ECW, where a lot of people, I think, had a career revival. Regal, Kendrick, and London fucked themselves up. Regal did, yeah. Kendrick and London, yeah, probably. Also the Hardys. And Shannon. Well, Shannon Moore was never going to be anything, but the Hardys also fucked themselves up. Who was I talking? I was talking about someone. Oh yeah, like Orton could have been a bigger draw if Trips didn't bury him immediately after winning the title. And I say bury if Trips didn't beat him very clean immediately after losing the title. I think Edge was the better one myself. And this is my like people have talked about how much they hate the like Super Cena thing so much, but let me just tell you my least favorite Cena moment from the entire 10 years when Cena beat Edge at Unforgiven 2006 in a tables, ladders, and chairs match in Toronto. I think it was Toronto. In Toronto. That's just like if Cena had beaten RVD at One Night Stand. Like it's still it's actually like my least favorite moment in years. Like I just hated that booking decision and it ruined Edge on Raw. Not on SmackDown. Man drew pretty well for SmackDown, but ruined him on Raw. It could have been a big deal. But anyway, yeah, I will have to wrap it up now. I need to sleep. But thank you all for coming out. There's been quite a few of you active in the comments. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed and you're new, if you enjoyed and you're new, then go ahead and throw in a subscribe. I've got to answer this one question. Edge vs. Cena Rumble 05 was very bad too. Actually, I think that was Rumble 06. I don't think they wrestled at Rumble 05. I know they wrestled at Rumble 06 for the title, but I don't remember if they actually might have wrestled at 05. I don't think they did. I think it was Edge Michaels. Yeah, even to 0 in TLC matches before the match. I think he might. Yeah, I think he was. I think he might have been. Edge was also unbeaten at WrestleMania before WrestleMania 24, by the way. So there's that. But I don't think it was a bad thing. That was one of the biggest moments in his career. Yeah, anyway, if you're new here, please check in and subscribe if you enjoyed please leave a thumbs up on the actual archive video. If you're here, then leaving a thumbs up does nothing. But once the video goes up after the live stream is finished, if you chuck a thumbs up on that, it means that you want to see more of these podcasts. If it does, and I've really enjoyed this. Thank you all for coming out. Last question: do you think 2016 will be a good year for wrestling? For wrestling, yes. For WWE, probably not. The first 4 months have seen some supercards. Evolve has already put on at least one supercard. New Japan has put on 2. New Beginning in Niigata and Dome Show. I think G1 this year is going to be better than last year, and I think Lucha Underground Season 2, and if Season 3 starts this year, which I don't think it will be good. And I think NXT will continue to grow as long as they push the next crop of women as well as they can, because they're very, very good. I think the men's division in NXT is going to get better this year. Tag teams are going to be great. And, yeah, I think that about covers it. Thank you all for coming out. I've really enjoyed the stream. I'll hopefully do more of these recently, but enjoy wrestling. Watch it all. If you haven't seen New Beginning Niigata, link in the description to New Japan World. It is cheaper than WWE Network, and it is real good. And if you haven't seen any of the New Japan stuff from last year, then all of that is on there too. You can watch all of the G1 Climax from any years. It's amazing. Go watch it. Also, make sure you watch Lucha Underground if you have LRA, and if you don't, then pirate it, because that's not morally wrong in my mind, unless you do have LRA, in which case you should watch it there. If you have Access TV, then watch New Japan on there with JR and freaking Josh Barnett. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching. Watch wrestling. Enjoy wrestling. Kenny Omega is a god. Mwah. Peace out.